Hi, ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to everybody. We are delighted to have you all today at this webinar on the future of networking brought to us by HPE Aruba and one of its distributor, Inflow. I am Anand Sharma, Executive Director at cxotv.news and your host for today's webinar. Allow me to take a bit of time to introduce you to the webinar and set the context right. COVID-19 has brought home the reality that education technology which delivers great content and engages students and teachers has never been more important than today. The ongoing COVID-19 crisis has presented an opportunity to rethink the deep-rooted classroom mode of education and underscored the significance of online learning. It has been a great leveler as it has enabled various stakeholders to collaborate and to assess the gaps and shortcomings in the conventional model. The COVID-19 pandemic may be just the tipping point to reform the Indian education system. Although online education cannot replace classroom education due to the personalized nature of attention and face-to-face interactions. However, it can be an effective supplement to the brick and mortar model of education. COVID-19 has rapidly rewritten all our realities, demanding that we learn as much and as fast as we can. For this education to happen, we need connection which provides continuity and virtual access, both of which are vital. While networking forms the backbone of education in the post-COVID world, the smart networking solutions with convergence of new age technologies has made the landscape even more critical for effective and efficient learning. We have lined up a brilliant panel today to go deeper into the evolution of education technology over the last few years, as well as networking challenges and how networking is getting smarter with emerging technologies like AI and ML. The panel will be moderated by Mr. Atul Nishar, founder, Agent Overseas Education. Mr. Atul is one of the few renowned entrepreneurs in India who have attained most successful outcome with slew of entrepreneurial initiatives. As the founder of Hexaware Technologies, he is a well-known IT leader who has contributed in promoting Indian software capabilities across the globe. In fact, Ascent, which offers counseling for overseas education, is his second educational entrepreneurial venture after he founded the very famous Aptech Limited in 1985, which he grew into a leading global IT training outfit. An active and known figure of the Indian IT industry, Atul was the chairman of NASSCOM in 2000 and continues to be on the executive council of NASSCOM. He is also the president of TIE, the Indus Entrepreneurs. It is my sheer pleasure and privilege to host such a renowned IT veteran as the moderator. Now I request Mr. Atul to please take this forward. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Anand. Thanks so much. First of all, I would like to say good afternoon and a very warm welcome to each and every participant who's joined this seminar. As Anand has said, I am the chairman of Ascent Overseas Education. In this role, we deal with a number of universities globally. And under this COVID-19 scenario, there is a big concern about university classes starting, not starting, online, offline. If it is online, how will universities conduct the classes? What technology? So I think I have never seen such a focus on technology in education field as it is now. And so we thought of this seminar, this whole program, so that there is a discussion and we are able to impart some information on the technology that universities and higher education institutes can use effectively to impart education. So we have on this panel two very eminent speakers. We have Ashish Srivastav, Vertical Sales Head of Education for HPE Aruba. Ashish has over 15 years experience in companies like HCL Infosystems and HPE. He specializes in key strategic planning and execution, and also key account management, channel management, and business development with focus on verticals, including on education and hospitality. Another eminent panelist I have with me here is G. Mahesh Kumar, Manager Systems Engineering of HPE Aruba. He has over 19 years experience in customer-facing technical roles across enterprise and telecom verticals. He also specializes in network technologies, open standard networking, and technical pre-sales and business development. So I extend a warm welcome to both my very worthy panelists, and let's start the discussion. So Ashish, shall we start with you?
Yeah, so good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ashish. As Mr. Atul has already, talk about few things. I handle currently education as a vertical in HP Aruba. So I just start with introduction about the company. Can we have the first slide, please? So I think I just want to introduce. I'm sure Aruba is not new in the market, but I just want to take you through about the what we are doing, what the impact we are having in the market. If you see the last year record, we being consistently number one across the quarters. Quarter and quarter, we are surging ahead in terms of the market share. We are gaining a lot of market share thanks to the customers, partners, and the community which is supporting us on our initiative, on our strength in terms of the security, software, hardware. So we are basically working with the customers to build the products which are how futuristic the product can be. So if you see my our record in last Q1, Q2, Q3, we are consistently on the market leader in terms of the market share. Can we have the second slide, please? So I think Mr. Atul has already talked about, and Anand also talked about the today situation where pre-COVID and post-COVID. So will be different. I think perspective of looking campuses will be different. But yes, of course, what we cannot deny is campus is going to get evolved. Whereas we are seeing the campuses are going to be more and more, things. Maybe what we are going to have a lot of technology are going to go adopted. But if you see, we can divide this into two parts. One is how student and faculty can be what they are doing, how the technology are going to help them. So if you see when students are coming to the campus, they are coming with a different device. They're coming with a different softwares. They're coming with the multiple access device. They're and also the situation is different nowadays. Now students are or want to get view on the content which is there in the college on either they are at home currently, which is they are at home, but when they are coming to campus, they want to access the content anywhere in the campus. This is where the we are talking about the current technology is moving. So when I'm talking about the accessing the content, I'm sure when a lot of things has to be done on the IT side. Okay, same thing is for faculties and staff. They are also having a pressure of how content to be delivered online, because the current situation we are doing everything on the online. So content is getting developed, but how content securely getting broadcasted to the student, that is also very important. But of course, as the relation between the faculty and the student has to be bounded, because this is where we have to create a bond where they also feel that yes, we are with the college, and we are with the faculty, and with the student and faculty bonding has to be very important. When we see how the institutions are going to react, uh, of course institution have to have a lot of schemes, or a lot of issues will be how to retain, how to retain the student, because when your campus is up to the date or techno savvy, students are going to adopt, and it's kind of how you can retain the students in the campus, and how you can extend your services to the student. That is very important nowadays, because students are seeing all the things together nowadays. But same thing, this also create a lot of pressure on the IT, how IT can make it secure the access to the student, how IT can enable all the activity which backend, because in the front it is all service, but IT has to play a very important role, how they are going to extend these services to the student. So currently today I think we are going to cover some of the aspect how we can build a smarter network with the smarter solution, which I think Aruba is working towards, uh, making it more user friendly and more, software defined, I can say, to the IT. So this is how we are going to discuss today. I'm stopping here. I'll just hand it over to my colleague, Mr. Mahesh. So he will take you through what is next, how we can move ahead on the in terms of the technology and smarter campus. Thank you very much.
So, Mahesh, while you are presenting, can you focus on the changing technology needs, the IT needs of educational institutes, particularly for their campuses?
Yeah, thank you, Atul sir. Thank you, Ashish, for giving an introduction to the situation we are in and how the IT requirements need to be evolved in education campuses. So before I answer your question, Atul sir, let's also get some feedback from the audience. So Anand, can you do that poll so that we get some information from the attendees as well? So number one, security. Yeah, obviously security
Yes.
risk
Yes.
we will cover in this webinar. Second, performance. Okay, so performance and security being the lead. Then high availability, another key challenge, I believe, frequent outages to be removed. Then I am surprised that most of our attendees are feeling that okay, management and maintenance are comparatively okay as of now. So so hopefully we can cover most of these challenges in our session today. So Anand, we can go to the. So Atul sir also mentioned the same thing. What are the key challenges? Our attendees also give us enough inputs on how they are seeing their infrastructure getting evolved. So let's run through some of the key products which Aruba has introduced recently. So one of the key aspects which attendees highlighted was performance, right? So when it comes to networking, today when we talk about networking, networking becomes the backbone, be it in education institute. Even when I am now currently sitting at home, if my connectivity is poor, if I am not getting enough bandwidth from my service provider, I may not be able to see the presentation or deliver this session to you. So performance becomes very key. So wireless, when you talk about Wi-Fi as a technology, Wi-Fi at the beginning itself, it was not really for it was at the beginning it was not really focused on performance. It was more focused on security and other aspects which were the serious concerns of most of our users, right? But slowly, if I take early 2000s and now we are in 2020, almost 18 to 20 years, we have seen Wi-Fi slowly becoming the predominant technology when it comes to campuses, when it comes to education institutes. And if you take today's education, today we are talking about 2020. If I take an engineering college, the students who are coming in are from 17 years old onwards. Those students, we actually call them as with a I would say name as millennials. So when we say millennials, they are the ones who really do not have seen a wired network, or they would not have really experienced Ethernet or Cat5 cable, fiber cable. They are not really worried about it because the devices they have been using, the devices which have been released these days, they are all depend on Wi-Fi, right? So Wi-Fi needed to be evolved to the growing requirements for the users, right? So that is where I just want to introduce to the attendees what Aruba has introduced recently, and the industry. If you take the industry, Aruba was the first one to introduce the latest generation wireless access points. So that also big made with a name, right? Earlier we just used to call it Wi-Fi 11AC, 11, 11N, 11APG, right? That. But now we have even branded it as Wi-Fi 6. So Wi-Fi 6 is a latest generation Wi-Fi. So its focus has been performance. So earlier when we talk about Wi-Fi, Wi-Fi was more about connectivity. So we will just see, like in our mobile phones, we used to see how many signals we are getting in my device, right? That was the way we used to treat Wi-Fi. At that time we will see lot of uh, signals, or on the laptop or mobile device we see a lot of uh, bars, but we still face issues, right? What was the challenge? Because Wi-Fi access points or the devices, you can get signal from those devices to your device, but if you want to have a proper Wi-Fi communication bandwidth, you need a dual bidirectional communication. So that is where we need more capacity on every channel which we are using, more access points for the square feet area we are talking about, because now we are more focused on performance rather than coverage. When it was initially introduced, wired networking was always there. Wired was the preferred. So wireless used to be a backup, used to be a redundant, maybe only for some internet purpose. Now, if I take this 10 years, 15 years change, we have made Wi-Fi as our preferred medium of communication. Whenever we get into a campus, students are almost wanting to be get plugged on to the college Wi-Fi, right? That is their preference. If they are in the campus, academic building, in the classroom, in the lab, in hostel rooms, wherever they go, in their canteen, cafeteria, they just expect that they take out the device from their pockets and they just get connected, right? That is the expectation. So we need to ensure that the campus networks also evolve to that performance and availability requirements of wireless. So that is where we just want to introduce Wi-Fi 6. So you can see on the slide itself, Aruba has the most broad wireless Wi-Fi 6 portfolio today, starting from we call them as a wall jack, that is the size of your face plates which come on your wall, to a outdoor high performance wireless access point. So this is the entire range of our access point, right? So you can see some of the use cases. I will just say, like in a hostel room, we see in a college maybe 2 or 3 or 4 students will be sharing that room. So it becomes important that all of them get a proper signal. And then when it comes to the devices, most of them will be using one device, two device, or and then they may be having a laptop which needs to be connected onto the wired network, or maybe a video console or a gaming console need to be connected onto the wired network. So it is the requirement is like you need to have 3 or 4 wired ports, and then a proper good coverage of Wi-Fi inside that room. So many times colleges we have seen the wireless access points or the devices are kept on the corridors in hostels, and that becomes a serious uh, experience issues for students. Students start complaining to the IT team. When I'm in my room, I'm not able. Some of the students want to see uh, the movies or something, but many of the students may want to utilize that infrastructure for completing their assignment. So it has become very important to give a proper high performance coverage even in the hostel room. So that is why Aruba also has a very varied portfolio. So I just want to mention about that product, which is on the leftmost side, which is a small desktop model or a wall plate model, which can easily go into any hostel room, and then that can give you the Ethernet ports as well as it can give you the Wi-Fi within that room. Then for your campuses, you may choose based on your coverage requirements. The Wi-Fi, we need to do a survey. We need to see what are your materials you use. Based on that, there are various models. Then we have outdoor. It can it can be your playground or any outdoor. Maybe canteen will be on terrace somewhere. All those places you may require outdoor. Then all these Wi-Fi comes with lot of capabilities. So I just run through very fast the smart PoE. So that means we will not be running power cables to power all these access points. What we normally do is we run the Ethernet cable, and through Ethernet cable these will get powered. So, but when you use Ethernet cable, and if your systems are not having that energy efficiency within them, unnecessarily we will be sending lot of power to these devices. So what we do is, based on the number of users get connected to the Wi-Fi access point, based on the usage of Wi-Fi radios, we can actually modify the real PoE requirement at that point in time. So what it happens is that if the user density on an access point is few, we may only take around say 15 watts. If the user density increases, maybe we take around 20 watts. So it automatically adjusts to the power requirements based on the number of users connected onto that device. So that is again why what I want to talk here is all those are innovations which came out of Aruba, right? Second is BLE and ZigBee. So BLE and ZigBee, BLE stands for Bluetooth Low Energy. Bluetooth Low Energy is a technology similar to Wi-Fi, but Wi-Fi works on 2.4 or 5 gig channels. Bluetooth works on the Bluetooth 5 technology, where your mobile phones and all get connected, right? So access point need not be only giving Wi-Fi. It can also become the point of interface for other technologies. We will talk little more about that in our coming slide. Similarly, there is another technology called ZigBee. Then we have some patented technologies like client match, air slice, all these. So sometimes many times, or we normally come across customers asking, okay, Wi-Fi, why we have to go to Aruba, right? It's primarily because of this patented technology. It is not just, as I mentioned, most of the engineering colleges or any college you take, any education institute you take, the student feedback is actually a serious way, means whoever has studied there has to give a word of mouth to other upcoming students to choose that college over another college, right? These are all these are becoming more important because these small things which we ignore can can have a bad experience to a student for their curriculum. Then that can eventually result in a less number of students adopting that college in the years to come, right? So that is where we want to ensure that our network connectivity is proper. Then one of the things we in the poll also we see the most answered or the concern which raised was security. So then Aruba came up with a new standard. Again, why I said Aruba, because this has evolved from Aruba Labs, which is called WPA3 or Wi-Fi Protected Access version 3. So as I mentioned, many of the campuses today, the preferred connectivity is wireless, but we need a very strong wired backbone to connect all the wireless access points together, right? That is where Aruba CX switching platform comes into play. So what we have come up with is a very strong portfolio. You can see at the bottom what we have done. Like complexity, network complexity is a key concern of many of the customers. So what we have done is we have made it in a common platform with one operating system, one architecture. So many of you know that HPE Aruba makes hardware with makes our products like access point switches. but many few will be knowing that even the hardware ASIC, which actually powers these products, are also manufactured by HPE. So you can say this product portfolio, what you're seeing here, we run a same operating system with the latest cloud native modular multiple services architecture, one ASIC architecture. So products are built on the same HPE built generation 7 ASIC, and then one operating model. So you don't need if your campus which connects to a camera, connects to your servers, connects to your access points, all of them are managed, monitored, and controlled all by the same operating solution. So that is the advantage of Aruba's OS DX portfolio. So wireless Wi-Fi 6, when you adopt the platform which actually becomes the backbone of these access points, also need to be equally strong and powerful. We just talked about wireless campus, wired campus. So now, what if we have multiple campuses, right? We may have different colleges which we need to interconnect. We may have colleges maybe not in the city, sales offices in the city. There are a lot of requirements when you need to have wide area network as well. So today, when you talk about wide area network, we don't want a wide area network which is again configured point by point, device by device, right? We need to ensure that the wide area network is also centrally controlled, software defined, and again it should actually support all the different type of offices you want to connect. So today, as I mentioned earlier, I am connecting from home. Now in an education institute also, many of the students are connecting from home. So we need to ensure that the SD-WAN architecture or a software-defined wide area network architecture provides remote access to the students at home, to the faculty at home. Maybe some of the professors are visiting. Whenever they visit the campus, they should have a seamless connectivity. Whenever they go back to their home campuses, they need to have proper connectivity to access the remote campus, right? There are so many ways. Then the applications, where you want to host the applications. Sometimes you want to host the learning applications on your premises, but on premises, again, with the COVID coming into play, we have seen that many times we may not be able to access them because we are not able to go to the campus and do some maintenance and all, right? That is where people are adopting cloud, people are adopting software as a service, lot of different technologies for application hosting. So an SD-WAN or a wide area network should ensure that it connects all different type of users. It can be a roaming user, it can be a home user, it can be a sales office somewhere, it can be different campuses. Then accessing, what it actually does, it ensures the user to access applications. So that applications can be hosted anywhere. It can be on your campus, it can be on Amazon or Azure cloud, it can be on some SaaS applications like Office 365 or a Dropbox. So to ensure that whenever you choose a wide area network to connect your multiple college campuses, or to extend your college campus network to students and staff when they are at their home or they're at the remote offices, we should ensure that everything can be managed, monitored, and controlled from a single pane, and all are software defined. That is what Aruba provides with our Aruba SD-WAN solution.
Very interesting question. Are you looking to upgrade your network infra?
That brings me, Mahesh, to the next question on security and privacy. Students would be bringing their own devices. Institutes would have IoT systems. So different users, different devices, different facilities. So how would institutes ensure privacy and security of systems?
Yeah, that's a very good question, Atul sir. You would also seen the poll which we did earlier. Attendees also are seeing around 60% of our attendees have voted that security is a serious concern for campuses. So let's get into some of the technologies what Aruba is bringing. So you mentioned it in your question itself. So what we see here, so there are students which currently what you're seeing is their laptops or the student devices. Then they bring their own devices, like it can be smartwatch, it can be their tablets, their smart mobile phones, right? Then we have a I would say explosion of devices which are coming onto the network. It can be wired devices or wireless devices for various kind of requirements. It can be a CCTV camera, it can be a temperature sensor. Whatever you think of today, many of those are coming onto the IP network. And your question is very valid, how we can deal with it, how a campus can deal with it, how a campus can ensure that the priority is given to the education and the online classes and all those critical to the campus environment. Then all others are doing the right job or the required job or meets what it is required to do, right? That is what we have to ensure. What Aruba has brought is, Aruba has a platform called ClearPass. So ClearPass is a platform now. Earlier it was a single product. So now we have evolved it into a platform where we have, ideally we have two products which actually addresses the concern which we raised. So one of the products, we call it our ClearPass Device Insight. So device insight, by the name itself, you can say it provides insight into the devices which gets connected onto the network. Today, one of the serious concern of a campus is the most of the time the IT team is not aware how many devices are coming, right? A student can bring 10 devices also. They can bring uh, multiple kind of devices. They can bring their own laptop, tablets, personal phones. Then they can bring their own, sometimes they bring their own access point or wireless switches. They can bring so many different things onto the campus. First thing we need to do is we need to see what is there. So visibility is very key. Visibility is the key before we can secure it, right? So device insight is a solution which provides that visibility onto the end devices. Then once you are visible, once you know what are getting connected onto the network, then what you can do is you can properly assign the right secure access policies onto these devices, right? That is what ClearPass policy manager will do. Then sometimes these policies may require some communication with some of the other security uh, uh, products in the campus. It can be a firewall, it can be intrusion prevention system, it can be a mobile device management. There are multiple other security. So Aruba is not a company which provides all those, right? Aruba, then what we do through our security exchange program, we ensure that our ClearPass product integrates with all these different security solutions out there, and then give a complete holistic 360-degree secure network for the campus. So what I mentioned earlier, so we just mentioned we have so many different types of devices. So what Aruba does is Aruba gives a specific device role or user role to every device in the campus, right? It can be an employee laptop or a student laptop. It can be a BYOD device. It can be an IoT lock or IoT HVAC system or a TV. Whatever comes onto the campus, we give the right role. Then you can click once more, Anand. So once we know that this device is supposed to be this, then what we do is we give the right access. What to be accessed from there? For example, in a campus, students will need to access the online resources, maybe an online library. They may not be required to access some social media sites when they are in the campus. So what we normally do is we have a context setting. We know from where the student is connecting at that time. Is say for example morning 9 a.m. to evening 5 p.m. is the class time. Then we say, okay, at that 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. if the student is sitting in hostel, he should not be given access to certain websites, right? But once it is 5 p.m., after 5 p.m., when the students go back to hostels, then you can allow that. So it can be, context can be anything. It can be time, it can be location, it can be their device, what device they're using. So based on all those, we ensure that the correct policies are set onto the network. The network can be wired or wireless network, right? That is, we call it zero trust network. Why? Because we don't trust anything at the first time when they connect. We don't trust anyone. We see with suspicion on all the devices. Then we check whether this is the right device, right user, right time, right location. Once we know that everything is okay, then we give them access. That is what we do with our ClearPass zero trust security network.
So Mahesh, that brings me to the next question. While institutes would be using complex networks, wired, wireless, wide area network. And to manage all that, would they need a very large team of IT? Because normally the institutes would have a small team. How do they match these two?
Yeah, Atul sir. So again, we talked about the infrastructure and the number of devices and type of devices coming onto the network. It is it is also, so what we normally say is ensuring their connectivity to the right resources at the right time. That is what makes their experience, the user experience, better. Then to make sure that these the users are getting all the access, all the right resources at the right time, there is a community which is our IT community, which is IT operator community, we call them. They ideally is the brains and hands behind this net, network to run smoothly, right? So Aruba has a very clear mandate that we have to ensure that the end user's experience is made better with our network. At the same time, the IT administrator and the operator uh, job also needs to be made easy and simple. That is where we have something like a single pane management for the unified infrastructure. So you can see this, our solution is called Aruba Central. So Aruba Central becomes our single pane management for our switches, our wireless, our VPNs. Then moving forward, we may integrate with 5G using our AirPass technology. Then we will manage the SD-WAN, right? Then your wireless and wired campus networks and spread across the remote offices and home users. So all of those can be managed and monitored and secured from our Aruba Central portfolio. So that is what we use to simplify the operator experience for managing IT infrastructure. So again, assisting, we require as a technology product, we need to assist them with with more tools, right? What we are doing is we are enabling artificial intelligence, or we are using the data which we collect from these infrastructure products. We keep it in our data store, and we see how can we use this historical data to make proper informed decisions for the running network. That is what we do with our AI insights. So Aruba has over 1 million plus devices deployed across globe, right? So we can take that input from our experience from those devices and use that same information to make sure that the new customers who are coming on to Aruba can be make their networks run properly, smoothly, with less involvement from the operator. That is what we do with our AI operations. Earlier I talked about live upgrades. The live upgrade will help to reduce outages. Our network can be upgraded without taking the network offline. That is another concern in colleges. When network some issues happen, the college network need to be put on maintenance mode. So with Aruba live upgrade feature available on our switching as well as on our Wi-Fi infrastructure, you can run upgrades to different new operating system, new versions of operating system. If there is a bug in the operating system, it can be fixed. All those can be done without taking network out of service. So reducing the network outages. You can see this slide. So now you assume if you have a campus and you are one of the persons responsible for running the campus properly, right? So what we are giving to our Aruba customers is something called user experience insight sensor, which you can see on the left hand side. It looks like a small access point, but it is actually a user on the network. So what it gives to the operator is it will give you how a user or a student or a staff will will be able to access their applications on a 24/7 basis. So what an operator or a administrator need to do is they have to look at this dashboard. You can see the dashboard getting changed with colors green and red and orange, and all those colors will be displayed here. So if you look into the screen and say that all are green and the smiley is there on the screen, you can 100% be sure that my network in the campus is running fine 24/7. All applications which the users need to access, which the students need to access to submit their assignments, to run exams, to do online classes, everything is working fine. I don't need to get into the network every device to see whether my network is working or not, or I need not to take laptop and go into the campus and check. Now in this COVID time, this becomes very much more easy, because you know that my applications are always working. You can even keep this at your home through your broadband connection and check whether applications are accessible to my office. So morning you check everything is working, that means you are 100% sure my network and server and infrastructure is working fine. So we call this as user experience insight. So what we are giving here is not a network to network checking. We are here checking the users, whether the users are able to access the applications, log into the applications and access their do their day-to-day job properly or not. The device will act or simulate a user onto the network, and it is a 24/7 testing. So you don't need anybody to be there on in person.
So Mahesh, on this, what we have seen is that the institutes are spending very high amounts, investing a lot of money on creating the infrastructure, the network infrastructure. Now, how do they get the maximum benefit out of that?
Yeah, thanks, Atul sir. So whatever I talked about till now was specifically investing in infrastructure and enabling the users, including students, staff, and all the related requirements which are mandatory for a uh, education campus. But are, like you said, the investments are going to be high, right? We have wireless technologies and the wired technologies we are deploying in the campus. Can we leverage it for something more? So that is where Aruba, we call our access point as an IoT platform. That means earlier, if you want to adopt IoT with technologies I mentioned earlier, like Bluetooth Low Energy or Zigbee, many of the devices are coming up with their own version of IoT connectivity. For example, a temperature sensor. How do you ensure that temperature is kept normal in all your data centers? Or maybe temperature is one thing, maybe some other aspect which is monitored continuously. All the door locks. There can be many things which you can invest in IP infrastructure, building management systems, all those. So how can you ensure these needs these can be connected? So one option is you implement different networks for all these I would say peripheral networks, right? But one another option is you use your IT infrastructure itself to connect all your non IT things, including building management systems, other sensors, CCTV cameras. There are so many other things which comes to the campuses. And with IoT booming, you may need a lot of new technologies coming. What Aruba gives is, by default, Aruba access points provide Zigbee radio, which is a IoT technology, and Bluetooth radio, which is another IoT technology. Then it also gives a USB based interface, where if you have any proprietary or any third party IoT system, you can actually plug it onto the access point, so that any IoT device can be using this Aruba network for coming onto the IP network, right? So that is one thing we are doing. So you invested for your education institute the basic infra, but you leverage it for a lot of uh, other campus requirements and making it a single unified network. So then another key thing which we have seen, I do not want to dwell deep into this because of time also we are running short, but very easy to understand is, today you have Google allowing you to have their map to be leveraged by many applications like Uber, Swiggy, Zomato, whatever you take now, which are delivering you services wherever you are. We leverage the information given by Google location services. So what Aruba can give with our access point and Bluetooth technology, we can give the same location services data, which can be leveraged by you to one option can be to track your assets, important assets, very costly assets you need to track. It can be a projector, it can be a TV, anything which you think that it should be tracked. Then another thing is you can use it for integrating your mobile app. Your college can have an application which can give you notifications to your student staff, then allow them to visit the campus without help of anybody. The application itself navigates the user across your campuses. So you can build whatever you think of on the basis of the location services.
So it's a multiple choice polling question which says what are your expectations from your network.
Okay, security again becomes the key. I believe we have touched upon it. We can have more in-depth discussions if you like to later. Then visibility, yes, like I mentioned, security. Before even securing the network, we need to have visibility. So visibility security gets the maximum votes there. Then of course the seamless access and automation, right? So I believe most of the attendees are having similar expectations. Yeah, now we cannot now ignore the fact that we are in that situation. We or somebody coined the word called new normal, or we say getting back to business, right? So like yeah, I have not gone to my office for last 3 months now. So similar is the scenario for most of the industry, right? So Aruba has come up with Aruba's plan. So we want to just share maybe few more minutes. We may extend the session for another 5 10 minutes so that we can cover 2 3 more points. So Aruba really has planned it in a 3-phase strategy. It should be a 3-phase journey is what Aruba is believing. The first thing is securely working or accessing the resources remotely. So this is where we are in. We are actually, it takes, if you take any enterprise offices or campuses, educational campuses, like my daughter is doing online classes now from home. Same is the scenario across the locations, across the usage, right? So that is what Aruba also thinks. So what Aruba has product wise, we have some solutions like virtual intranet agent, or we call it VR. Then we have some solutions which I showed you earlier, which we call it as remote access points. What it actually gives, virtual intranet agent will give you secure connectivity from any device, any type of device. You can have this agent and then connect to your resources without any security risk. That is what VIA does. Then if you think some scenario where if you have a professor or a college faculty who needs to access some other devices, for example, it can be an IP telephone, or it can be a printer, or it can be any wired device which does not have an interface like a laptop or a tablet. You cannot use your VPN technologies on that. That is where we extend, using our remote access point technology, we extend your campus network onto their home network. So I will be sitting at my home, but I will be virtually sitting at my seat in my college. So it is equal. It is as simple as that. That means he can be at home, he can be in a hotel, he can be on the field. Whenever where they are connecting onto a wired or wireless network which has internet, they are virtually accessing, virtually being there at the office or campus, right? That is what Aruba gives today, which is remote connectivity. Then what we see as a phase two, maybe from now on to 3 to 6 months, we are yet to be unsure how long, but hopefully maximum 3 months, we may see people coming on to the campuses. Then we have to have a strategy, we call it return to office strategy. That means we need to ensure the infrastructure itself provides that way to track people, to do contact tracing. So you don't need, as a campus, you don't need to invest another set of tools and methods to be compliant with COVID scenario. So we need to know that if a student is getting infected, maybe she or he has come to the campus and after 1 week she got infection. So we need to track that where the student was, which all places she or he had visited, who all would have come in contact with her at the same time. So you need to know all these. So what Aruba has already done is we leverage our technology for these contact tracing methods. So what we see as a return to office, we already have a solution. Then the third thing is hybrid workplace. So that we call it as the future. We don't see now everybody will think that my all resources need to be in campus only. We may need to have a flexibility. Maybe we need to allow, if it's a semester, 6 months duration, maybe 1 month, students can be allowed to work from or study from their home. I am just saying an assumption. That means we need to have a flexibility in our infrastructure which enables faculty and students to work and operate from anywhere they are. So that kind of a That kind of evolution we may be seeing in the future campuses. So first two, we are already ready. Third thing, we are having plans to deploy that in a hybrid workplace. Then another important thing, I thought we are talking to education institutes, IT people, IT team, and people who are closely working with education institutes. So it is important for Aruba as a technology company to impart what Aruba technology is to our upcoming students. They need to, what we are actually leveraging is we are helping the students to learn or to enhance their knowledge when they are in the campus itself. This initiative, what we call is Aruba Academy. That means when the student is doing their engineering or similar courses, at that time, along with the curriculum, we can have something called Aruba Academy running in that campus. It can be chosen by the college what technology you want to do. But Wi-Fi is the current key technology which we are seeing, and there is a lot of future onto that. So we have technology sessions around Wi-Fi, security, switching, and design, network
So,
design.
Mahesh, can you elaborate what programs do you have at Aruba that can enable students in this?
Yes, so this program on a high level, we call it as Aruba Academy. So Aruba Academy is actually an extension of Aruba's education services onto the respective college campuses. So Aruba Education Services actually cover all our portfolio product lines and the technology which it belongs to. It can be wireless, it can be switching, it can be security. All those can be learned when the student is in the campus itself, and then they can even get certified on these technologies when they are in the campus. So once they are out of the campus, they are, I would say, they are job ready on Aruba technology. Or because they have learned Aruba, you can call it not just Aruba, they are ready for a networking career.
So thanks, Mahesh. This is wonderful what you explained. Thanks to you and to Ashish. This was really a very good learning experience, and I would also thank the participants who joined today. And I'll hand over back to Anand to take it forward for the audience questions.
Thank you, Atul sir. Thank you so much. A couple of pointers from Aruba, which you can see on your screen right now. And then I think it's time for two quick polls. Why I say quick is because they are just yes and no sort of multiple choice, radio buttons. So they can be launched immediately. I hope you can see the polls, and please cast your vote quickly on this.
Because this is a forum where we have a lot of education institutes attending this. So we want to just give a brief overview of where all Aruba has been getting implemented and all running for the infrastructure. So you can see a lot of big names there, many IITs, IIMs, big universities are using Aruba technology today in India. So we have just put the India slide here. So you can be rest assured that Aruba technology is right for your campuses.
Absolutely, absolutely. And time for the last poll, which is a quick one once again. And I'll request everybody to cast their vote, please, on this. This, without taking any more time, we are on top of the hour. I'd like to end this session and take this opportunity to thank everyone, including the speakers and the audience, for joining us. Hope it has been a great learning for each one of you. Thank you, Ashish. Thank you, Mahesh. Thank you, Mr. Atul.
For more updates from CXO TV, please like and subscribe to our channel.